We did 3 nights in Cancun, 2 nights in Tulum, and here's how much it all cost. We did stop by Walmart at the very beginning of our trip and picked up most of our essentials, and that pretty much lasted us the whole trip. In terms of adventure stuff to do while you're there, there's lots of options. You could go jet ski, you could go parasailing. We ended up doing some scuba diving. It was $105 for an introductory course, so they teach you how to scuba dive in the morning. They give you a little training session, and then you go and do 2 dives, which is super fun. There's a couple different parks where you could do a lot of different adventure activities like zip lining or swimming or snorkeling. We ended up going to Xel-Há, which is right by Tulum, and there was a ton of stuff to do there. It was super fun. Our admission to Xel-Há was $89 per person, and if you need a shuttle there from your hotel in Cancun, there's gonna be an extra fee for that. What's awesome is that in your admission, all your meals are also covered. We also did the photo option where you scan your bracelet right before you do something and it'll take a picture of you. And a stingray encounter, which is $44 per person. It was honestly pretty interesting, and for the girls, that was their favorite part of the trip. And finally, we went to a cenote in Tulum, which was $10 per person. We flew from Los Angeles to Cancun with Southwest Airlines. We went during peak season, so our flights and hotels were a little bit more expensive than usual, but I've seen flights under $300 during off season. On the plane, they have you fill out these forms, and they don't always tell you, but you're supposed to hold on to this piece of paper until you fly back, or else they'll charge you for it. Either that, or you'll be stranded in Mexico forever, which actually doesn't sound too bad, to be honest. Most of the hotels in Cancun also offer a all-inclusive option if you want, and that includes all the food and all the drinks. It's awesome if you plan on staying at the hotel a lot, but we had a rental car and we didn't spend too much time at the hotel, so we decided to go without it. And we stayed at the JW Marriott, which we split 4 ways. It's one of the nicer ones, and hotels in Tulum are way cheaper. You have a ton more options. The place we stayed at was pretty nice. There's definitely nicer options and also some cheaper options, but we were happy with the place we were staying at, except for that they didn't have air conditioning. That got pretty uncomfortable. So things to pack: your passport, your international driving permit if you plan on driving there, although they never asked me for it the whole time I was there. Flip-flops, shorts, sunscreen, bug spray, all things you could get over there if you want, but these are pretty useful too. It's like a waterproof case for your phone. I saw them selling it over there for like 40 bucks each, but on Amazon it's like $10, so I'll put a link in the description. Super useful if you plan on getting wet or going in the water, which you definitely are, right? I mean, you're going to Cancun. If you hate water, I would say maybe consider going somewhere else like Egypt or something. Also, if you have water shoes, I definitely recommend bringing those depending on what activities you're planning on doing over there. In terms of power, they use the same power that they use here in the States. So depending on where you're coming from, you may need an adapter. Food prices, it's completely different depending on where you are. If you go to a local area, it's way cheaper. And in all the touristy areas, it becomes pretty expensive. I mean, sometimes we would pay for a meal that's only like $3 to $4. And one of the nights we went to a super fancy steakhouse, and that was about $87 per person. It was by far the most expensive meal we had while we were there, but if you love fine steak, definitely worth breaking open that piggy bank for it, you know? I think this will cover it. Nightlife, we actually didn't go out too much. We were pretty exhausted from all the activities we were doing during the day. We did try to go out and try to find some local bars, and the drinks were generally around $3 to $4 each. We didn't get to go to COCO BONGO this time, but when I went 2 years ago, it was epic. You pay a cover charge, but once you're inside, it's open bar, and there's this show that goes all night. Definitely worth checking out. Transportation, you could definitely get around without a rental car. Anywhere around here, there's a shuttle that can probably take you to wherever you want to go, or taxis that are not too expensive. We just went with a rental car this time because we just wanted to be on our own time and have a little more flexibility. I don't completely understand the rental car situation over there, but if you're looking online, you find some deals where cars are listed at $1 per day or $5 per day. From what I understand, they lure you in with these rates, and then they tack on a bunch of fees and mandatory insurance and all that stuff. Again, I'm not 100% sure about this part, so maybe some of you guys can comment and let me know what your rental car experience was like in Cancun. I pre-booked on Priceline, and it said it was gonna give me the car for like $60 for 6 days. We showed up to the place, and they're basically like, oh, well, we don't really have a car for you. So yeah, I don't know. We walked right next door to Hertz. We ended up paying about 5,500 pesos, which is about $311 for this little compact car that's a stick shift. Definitely not the best rate, but we were there for like 2 hours trying to get this rental car, and we were just like, forget it, we'll just pay for it. And we had to fill up our gas tank once, which was about 534 pesos. That's just over $30. We did take a couple taxis around town, and they usually range from about 80 to 200 pesos. On our way back, we did stop by Playa del Carmen, but we were only there for about an hour, so we didn't get to do too much there besides pick up a couple souvenirs. Christina got the single person hammock, which was pretty cool, and that pretty much covers all our expenses. So this is the conversion rate. It's always changing, so it's gonna vary depending on when you go, but we got the best exchange rates by paying with a credit card that has no foreign transaction fees. But not everywhere takes credit cards, especially in the more local areas, so you do need cash. I find that ATMs give me the best exchange rates for cash, but they do charge a fee every time you withdraw, so it's better to pull out a big chunk at once rather than pulling out small increments. Our second best options was our hotel, which was giving us 17 pesos per US dollar, and the airports are a total ripoff. Try to stay away from that if possible. Okay, so I added everything up and my total ended up being 1,570 US dollars. I definitely consider Cancun to be more of an expensive destination considering that it's Mexico, but if you consider all the stuff that we did during that time and all the activities, scuba diving, snorkeling, I do consider it to be worth it. It was 6 days of non-stop adventure. So aside from this total budget, we did spend more on a few other things. For example, Jonathan ruptured his eardrum, so we had to get a doctor to look at his ear and prescribe him some ear drops to avoid infection. We talk about that in the other video. We also talk about how we came across a crocodile while snorkeling, which was pretty scary, not gonna lie. And also, if you're new to the channel, basically every time you or somebody else watches this video, YouTube pays me, and basically I take the paychecks and I hand it out. In Mexico, minimum wage is around 73 pesos, which is around $3.50 US dollars. So we saw these three guys, and they're the type of guys that work really hard and they never really get tipped because they're not really in the service industry. They're kind of in the back end, so we gave them a surprise. There was also this kid that had this little food cart. He charged us 22 pesos for the food and we gave him a 1,000 peso tip.
Opina.
Gracias.
Gracias. Have a good day.
We cleared the $221 for this trip. So I'm secretly hoping that doing these nice things will give me enough karma points to offset all the not so nice things I've done in the past. Few other things to remember. Tipping etiquette is very similar to the States, where you want to generally tip about 15 to 20% of your meals. And remember, in Mexico, try to stay away from tap water and ice. That's a little bit risky, so try to stick to those water bottles. And in terms of safety, we felt 100% safe the entire time we were there. Nobody tried to scam us or anything, but no matter how beautiful Cancun is, do remember that Mexico is a developing country, so just be aware and be smart about it. I hear it's not rare for a cop to pull you over to try to get a bribe out of you. And sometimes they'll also try to forget to give you the change or give you the wrong amount. And that whole area is pretty touristy in the first place, so you really don't have too much to worry about. And if I missed anything and you guys have any other pointers, leave it in the comments below. I'll be pinning the most useful comments so everyone else can see. And yeah, I never really know how to end these videos. I really have nothing else to say, so you guys should probably just go now. Yeah. You guys are kind of overstaying your welcome. Like, this is uncomfortable.